Mic check, 1 2 1 2. Reporting live from Greenleaf Studios. It's our first time here in White Plains, New York. We bring to you the Nothing But Love podcast show. I go by the name of Money Mike.
I go by Mainovent.
And today we got a superstar in the building, podcaster. Y'all seen him all around the world. He's with dudes like Robert Smith, the billionaire. What is he worth? 9.8 billion?
Something. Yeah, like, easy. Yeah, quick
we have 1/3 of Earn Your Leisure, Troy Mullins, in the building. Did I say your last name right?
Millings. But yeah,
Millings. Yeah.
Yeah, man. What's up? What's going on, y'all?
Ain't none.
Y'all, this is home, man. Welcome home.
For sure.
Welcome home to y'all.
For sure. You was on the road for a minute.
Always on the road, you know that. But I appreciate y'all taking the time, making sure that the scheduling worked, that I could be here. This is the first show that has had each one of us on it.
Right.
There's no other show that has had myself, Mike, and Rashad on it as a guest individually. Wow. So this is the first show.
Wow.
It's probably gonna be the last because I'll be hard to find.
Yeah. Listen,
I'll be hard to find.
So for a lot of you podcasters, relationships are important.
Right.
Me and him have a very good, close relationship, and scheduling is crazy. We go back from Thanksgiving. I think y'all went to Ghana or Dubai.
We went to Dubai and Thanksgiving. Yep.
Right. We talked about doing that, but then boom, y'all was out in Dubai.
Yeah.
Then we talked about Christmas, but then y'all went to Ghana, right?
Yep.
For Christmas.
Yep.
Then we talked about February, but then All-Star came. Am I saying it right?
That's right. We went to Indiana and then
right and then you had something right after that.
It was our birthday. So Shotty had his birthday. I had my birthday.
Right.
Then we went somewhere again.
Right. You know, so and then today we just made it happen. We compact the schedules and we here today.
Yeah. So
right now we're gonna dive into it. We're gonna go into his history for the viewers. Tell the viewers where you from originally.
Man, so I always start with I was born in the Bronx. I know a lot of times they put in your bios, you know, before they bring you out, they're you're from the Bronx, New York. BX in the And I'm like,
so what's gonna be in your bio?
My bio is Greenburgh, New York.
Okay,
I'm gonna just keep saying Greenburgh because people always ask us where we from, and I say in Greenburgh, and they tell me where's that. I was like, that's where we from.
Yeah, for sure.
We just gonna keep saying it until people recognize where that's at.
For sure.
But I was born in the Bronx. I'm a third child of immigrant parents from Jamaica.
Okay,
so you know the yard is running through my veins pretty heavy. You know the Bronx is our stomping ground.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So yeah, moved to Westchester probably when I was like 7 or 8 years old.
Okay.
Came to the town of Greenburgh. Had no idea that this existed. Like,
so
there was lawns and houses.
So how long did it take you to adapt? Because you coming from the boroughs where there's action. And then Greenburgh back then was dry.
Yeah, it was. I mean,
like
I had older brothers.
Okay.
And so it was different, right? Because you're looking at, like I said, homes. I had like neighbors. I got white neighbors. I had black neighbors. But then before I ever went to a school, I went to Kent at the community center. Okay. And so I was like, oh, there's black kids.
Yeah.
We gonna be all right. What year was this? This is like early 80s, like maybe 88.
Okay.
80s.
Oh, 88.
Like I'm in hip hop.
Rakim.
Yeah.
Well, we're from the Bronx, so you gotta say KRS first.
Yeah.
This is like
rest in peace, Scott LaRock.
Rest in peace, Scott LaRock. Yeah, Nice Oldham.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Miss Melody. Like I thought it was part of BDP. So
I know Miss Melody.
Yeah.
Okay, I know that.
So coming here was like, all right, this is great. Was able to acclimate pretty well in the neighborhood because we had middle class families and they were all black. So everybody, I had one white neighbor. He ended up moving out the neighborhood, but everybody in my neighborhood was black because if you look at the town, like especially where we was at in like Parkway Home section, it's middle class black families. And then you come to the other side of Greenburgh and there's more middle class black families. I was like, oh, this is cool.
Okay.
So adjusting was cool. Then I went to school and I was like, oh, I knew all the black kids because we lived in the neighborhood, but then when it was nothing but white kids there. So it was cool. We just came with the mentality like, all right, well, we about to turn this shit upside down. My brothers were a little bit different than me, a little bit wilder.
Okay.
So they did things that I didn't have to do.
Okay, gotcha.
So because of the way they moved, I was able to move a little bit smoother. But it was cool, man. Naturally you become a leader in these spaces. I was taller than everybody.
Okay.
I had older brothers, so I hung out with older kids.
How many siblings you had?
I got 2 older brothers.
2 older brothers?
Yeah, so at the time. No sisters.
Okay.
No sisters.
So is Greg the oldest or no?
Now I got another brother, Howie. He's 10 years older than me.
Oh, 10.
So the
wow.
transition for him was a little bit different, right? Like he's
yeah.
from the Bronx, like at 16, 17.
So he's staying in the Bronx.
They had the mentality,
Yeah,
right?
the
Because now
mentality,
you're moving a high school kid to suburbs,
Yeah,
and that's
that doesn't
different.
work.
For
Yeah.
me, it was like I was first, second grade, so it was nothing.
Yeah.
And it was like you're the cool kid, right? Because you come from like, oh, who's this kid? He's from the Bronx.
Yeah.
And so that I grew up there, transitioned, went to public schools in Valhalla. Then I ended up, because that was the side of Greenback I was on, ended up moving back to the Bronx in middle school, and that was crazy. Taking the 60 bus to Woodlands and all that, and then ended up moving back to Greenberg.
Okay.
And been here, man. So I've been here since then, just grinding, doing everything.
So let's get into your transition where I guess you meet. Who did you meet first? Mikey, Rashad? Like, tell us about that equation.
Yeah, so those are my brothers, first and foremost, man. So I went to camp, like I said, before I went to school. I was in camp. So I met Mike when I was like 5 years old.
Oh, so you know Mike originally. Okay, gotcha.
I've known him for a very long time.
And his family's popular out here, it's safe to say.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
The McDonald's and stuff like that.
He has older siblings, and obviously their family tree, their cousins is a long lineage of people.
Right.
So I knew him because he was my age group. He was in my group, so I knew who he was.
Okay.
He was a lot shorter than.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and
he just shot up.
Yeah, he was there. Mike was crazy. And then Shotty I met, ironically enough, we actually lived in the same complex.
Okay.
But I knew his brother. He has an older brother, Haas. And his brother and my brother are the same age. So when we was in the same complex, I used to run around the complex with my brother. I see them sometimes, but I didn't really know who he was.
Right.
And then when I was in middle school, shout out to Mr. Lopez, who was a guy, in our community who was finding young kids who were interested in playing sports, and he would take them to the city. We played ball.
Right.
And then he had this opportunity for us to be extras in this movie called Eddie. Whoopi Goldberg. Y'all remember that, John?
Eddie?
Yeah.
Remember Eddie? I remember Eddie.
Yeah, so she's like this Knicks fan who ends up like becoming this rap fan.
Becoming a coach?
Becomes a coach.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
There's this like,
So you was an extra in there?
Well, we was extras. There was two sets, right? There was the extras when they were playing basketball in the park, and some of our friends are in that. And then they had extras when she's actually the coach and people are cheering in the stands. And so what they did was they brought us in, and they had a bunch of extras in Madison Square Garden, and they let us play on the court. And so the fans would cheer as we were playing. So it was like real reactions. It's just that it was us kids playing on the court.
I just want to know you getting some checks from that now to the day.
Nah, we got, so this is a true story. That was the first time I ever got paid to do anything.
SAG. It's a whole bunch of things. TAG and SAG.
I think I got paid like, it might have been like $135.
Okay, but you got something.
I was like, yo, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I want to do another movie. But that's where we originally met, because he had gone to the public schools in Greenberg.
Okay.
And everybody knew him, but I didn't know him. But everybody was cool with him. So I was like, well, I'm gonna be cool with him.
Yeah.
Like I never had a younger brother. So I was just like, all right, well,
that's what it was.
That's gonna be that's gonna be my guy. And literally the next year he came, he was in 7th grade, I was in 9th. And we just been rocking ever since.
Little 2 year difference.
2 year difference. So
bad.
his birthday is like a couple days away from mine. Okay. So we've been rocking like literally since that day.
Okay, so now let's go. I'ma say out of high school. So I heard from like y'all past, like y'all all wanted to get together and do stuff. I can't remember if it was like a mixtape thing first y'all did, or real estate or something that y'all all wanted to do together.
In terms of business?
Yeah, business. Yeah.
Yeah. So the first thing we did, I mean, I'll never forget, I had graduated from college, and we all were at my man's house. Like,
what school you went to?
I went to Mercy College.
Oh, Mercy. Okay.
Yeah. So we're sitting there and we're just having this like powwow, like kind of celebratory, but almost like a dim celebratory, because it's like, well, now we graduated college. Now what? Now it's real life.
Yeah. What we gonna do?
What we gonna really do, right? Like, this degree is cool, but like now what? Like we ain't guaranteed nothing.
Exactly. How do we get to the real money?
Exactly. And so we were having these conversations, and I never forget. I give Mike a lot of credit. He was talking about this book called Rich Dad Poor Dad,
Right.
and he was talking about finances, and he was talking about business, and I was sitting there like, yo, how does dude know more than me?
Right.
I was like, nah, this.
Right.
I didn't feel comfortable. I just didn't feel comfortable not being able to add to the conversation that they were having. I didn't feel comfortable that my peers knew something that I didn't. I didn't feel like, especially it was Mike. It was just like, yo, what? And that day, I promise you, I was just like, yo, that's never gonna happen to me again. Like, if we have a conversation about music, I could be engaged. If we have a conversation about sports, I could be super engaged. Right. If we have a conversation around education, I could be super engaged. But I wasn't confident enough to have a conversation about business and finance. And I was like, nah, that's it. That's the
What kind of degree did you have?
I graduated with a health science degree.
Okay.
So I originally wanted to do physical therapy.
Right.
And they realized that I hate science.
Yeah.
Straight up. I was like, yo, what
And you
the?
gotta like massage people and tell them what
Yeah, I was like, yo, what am I thinking? So I interned it doing that for 6 months.
I can feel you because I wanted to be an accountant, but I hate numbers and all that.
Like,
draft spreadsheets and all.
How
I
long
hate
did that last for you, Mike?
Oh, that was short lived.
Short lived. But that's why we went to Monroe, New Row. Remember show? Monroe?
Nah.
Shout out to New Row.
The hard knock
New Road.
streets.
Hard knocks. School of hard knocks.
I heard you.
Yeah, but that's why the center was so important in that process, is because
Right.
even though I knew I hated science, I knew I loved working with kids.
Right.
That was natural to me. That was like a spiritual gift to me. It was like, that's easy.
Right.
I was 15 doing that. I'm 20, I can still do that. So I was always working in schools, working with kids. I hated science, but I did love sports. And so like, that's why I was like, all right, if I got the health science degree, I love working with kids, I should teach phys ed. So that's why I was like, I'm gonna be a teacher. I didn't want to be a teacher. It was I wanted to do physical therapy.
Okay.
But those two things were so aligned, and those were like, that's natural. That's why I did that. But when he had that conversation, I was like, that's never gonna happen to me again. I literally took it upon myself to teach myself about finance.
Okay.
And so I read the book that he read, and then I started.
How was that book though? The book, I never.
Rich Dad Poor Dad?
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those
It's like the
books.
starter plan for
It
everything.
is. It is. Until we'll talk about what we're gonna be doing to eradicate that.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, everybody will say that that's one of those books that is life changing and it can change your mindset, and it can help you build a plan going forward. So I was like, damn, he got one up on me. That's never gonna happen again. So I started reading on my own. I started reading Business Week. This is like 2005.
Okay.
I'm reading Business Week.
Oh, that's later. That's after me and you got cool.
Yeah,
like,
so you met me in the center.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just like I had just graduated. So I'm reading Business Week. I'm reading Wall Street Journal. I'm reading anything I can get my hands on to learn. And I'm like, all right, well, cool. I'm gonna start trading stocks on my own. So I started doing that on my own. Like I had a Scott trade account. Yeah, people here might be too young to understand
How
what
much
that
money you
was.
started with?
Probably like 2,500.
Oh,
Okay.
that's
Okay.
good.
Yeah,
You jumped in.
Yeah, you start with $50, right? Yo.
Some people start low. He
Well, you
jumped
stocks
in.
and all
Yeah,
that,
well, you
man.
couldn't. So here's the thing: you couldn't. Back then,
Right.
when you tried to trade, you had to pay for every trade.
Okay.
So let's say I started with $50.
Right.
I already know 7's gone.
Right.
So now I'm down to 43. Whatever I do, right? And if I sell, another 7's gone.
Okay.
So you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Either I
yeah,
make money or I
exactly.
don't. I was like, nah, I got to go in with a little bit more. So I did that. And I was making a little bit of money. This is crazy. This is a horror story. In 2007, I was reading this Business Week article, and I was talking about Apple and all the innovation, and they were talking about this new technology that they're going to have, and they're looking to make a phone because they had the iPod, but they didn't have any cellular device yet. And they were like, they're coming out with this phone. I was like, boom, put my money in there. I was like, bro, it was $83 a share.
Whoa.
$83 a share at the top.
Yeah. I was like,
Damn.
oh, we good. We good.
What's Apple shares now? Like 600,000?
Well, it's split a
It's
few
down now,
times.
right? 'Cause it's kinda
today it's probably trading at 182. Don't
Okay.
quote me, but it's in that range.
Okay.
But that's after it's split. It had a 5-to-1 split. So technically, I'll give you. How about this? I'll tell you the percentage that Apple's been up since 2000. It's up 38,000%. Right? Think about that.
That's crazy.
20 years.
38,000%.
Yeah. So, Lena's, that's what makes it a horror story.
That's like Bitcoin numbers.
I had like
Make sure you get your pen and pads out. This
I
is
had
real
like 10
information.
shares of it, and then that's 2007. The phone drops, but 2008 the economic crisis happens, and the
Right, with the
economy
real estate.
crashes,
With the real estate,
right?
yeah.
So the stock market crashes. So what I do, I sell.
You pull it out. Okay.
Pause. Right. So
yeah.
I take my money out and I don't reinvest it till later. Had I kept it there and added more to it,
Oh, yeah.
no,
Oh, you'd have
I'm
killed
up.
it.
You'd have been up.
Oh,
killed it.
it would have been
It
crazy.
would have been like a buy concentration.
Oh man,
all over
I would have earned my leisure a long time ago.
You hired?
Yeah, I would have earned it a long time ago, but that wasn't my story. So
Okay.
that was cool. It was a learning lesson, but some of those lessons you got to go through. And so we were trying to figure out how we're going to generate income. We knew one wasn't going to be enough, and so at the time we tried to create a real estate business.
Right, I remember that.
And Shadi actually came up with the name. It was called Money Through Investing. And so it was called. We had MTI, myself, my man Jamal, Greg.
For the record, Shadi is Rashad.
Oh yeah,
People don't
yeah.
know
Well,
that. People-
Right. That's the nickname.
Yeah, that's his
Yeah,
nickname.
from basketball, right?
Yes.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
that's what. So I tell when people don't know him, they call him Rashad.
Right.
But like with this family.
Right.
So
No.
right.
I know.
Yeah.
I gotta let them know.
They know if I'm talking.
Like,
That's what that is.
Shotty.
Mount Vernon has a Shotty.
Yeah. Right, Shotty.
Yeah, we do.
Correct.
Got one
Correct.
Shotty.
So
Correct.
I feel you on that.
Yeah,
All right.
exactly. Yeah.
So we had money to invest in. We had one deal, and that we made a little bit of money off of that, but we wasn't passionate about it at the time.
Okay.
And so we were like still trying to figure things out. Fast forward a few years later, Mike had been doing stuff in the world of technology inside of the DJ
Right, DJ thing.
sector, right? So
Correct.
he was doing a lot of cloud. So he was doing like, the videos that play when people play their sets.
Correct.
He had connected with this dude named Paul, and he was doing great, man. He was making a killing. And I was like, damn, he's doing really well.
Yeah, because he's doing the pitches and all that stuff.
yeah.
All that together played a role.
At this clubs every night.
Every night he was there.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was
people
killing
want
it.
sets that look nice, so he was doing that. He was killing it, and we was like, yo, let's try to do something. So this is like 2015 now.
Okay.
We tried to create this cloud service for DJs,
Okay.
which I mean at the time, and even now, I feel like it was a great idea. We just number one, we didn't have the capital to make it really work. And so in order for us to make this work, we had to outsource a lot of the work to
Right. That takes a lot.
different countries. And so one of the
different
countries,
countries.
one of the countries we did it was in India. And so we sent like, I think over the course of 6 months, like 30 bands over there and never came back with a product.
And so what was y'all trying to
Over
do?
there,
Was y'all
basically,
trying to get an app or?
Yeah. So it was a cloud service in the sense where, you come from that era where DJs would carry crates. But what if they could have their
Right on the app.
the set in storage, not even on the app.
pull it out.
Oh, in the
right.
cloud.
And then,
Oh, in the
and once you
cloud.
get to the club, it's like, oh, plug me in. They got Wi-Fi,
Oh, boom.
perfect. I got my set ready to go. All I gotta bring is like just my equipment that I'm using.
Yeah, that's all you got. Yeah,
and
exactly.
the speakers is already good.
So what you think killed that? They didn't understand the process of what y'all wanted over in India?
It was, the cost associated to get it done effectively, right? Had we done it here in the States, it would probably cost us 200, maybe 150,000.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Right? And so we were like, well, we don't have that right now.
Okay.
Let's pull our money together and let's see what we can do. We had like, I think each of us put up a couple thousand up. We like, yo, we got a solid 30. Let's send it here, see what they can do, come back with a product. But one of the things when you outsource business is that how do you keep track on the business?
Right.
Yeah.
You feel me? So like nobody's taking a flight to New Delhi.
Nobody's going there. Exactly.
Right? Like nobody's going to India, right? So like there's a time difference.
Okay.
And so like when we're going to sleep, they're waking up. When they're waking up, we're going to sleep. And so we're trying to figure out the right time to have phone calls, have business meetings, get updates. It was getting funny. And then I remember one time they had a holiday and we thinking like here, it's a holiday. It's like, oh, it's one day.
Yeah.
They had a holiday, it was for 3 weeks. And so nobody's picking up the phone. And I was like, all right, man. Then we heard that the dude had moved to a different part of India. So then we paid somebody to go track him
down. It was crazy.
That dude ended up taking the money.
Oh,
And so
God.
we probably made somebody a millionaire in India. And we,
So,
I mean,
so
it was a
was
valuable business lesson.
DJs using like what's some laptops right there? They wasn't using those things.
They was.
Yeah,
so that makes it
yeah.
even better, right?
Oh,
like
okay,
all I
yeah,
gotta do
definitely.
is pull it
Yeah, just
down,
put it down, yeah,
pull it down from the
computer.
cloud.
Okay,
yeah.
And now you
Right.
good. And it was like perfect. And then
Okay.
people could actually see your sets.
Okay.
Right? So
Right.
like if I wanted to get a set that you had put mixed together, I'm like, oh,
'cause
that's
in the cloud. Oh,
it's
okay.
in the cloud. So we
Okay,
can just
just pull it
now we
down.
can send
Okay.
it to each other. I can add to it.
Right.
Something comes out.
Right.
Boom, I can add to my
Okay.
set.
Okay.
Yeah, so it would make sense to download y'all service if
Yeah.
y'all could have got the service
That'd
together.
have been dope.
Exactly. And
know
then it
what
was
I
gonna
mean?
be an app and it was like perfect. I know it's niche, but it can work because you don't need 1 million customers, right? You just need a niche core audience of customers to subscribe to what you're doing and you can go far.
Right. So is it safe to say like y'all was trying to do what Fanbase is doing now? Kind of, sort of?
Fanbase is more of a platform, that's more of a social platform.
Okay.
This was
but indirectly. You
Yeah.
understand what I'm
It-
saying?
it
Like
would be
kind of?
like what Serato has done in
Okay.
a sense where like their stuff has gone from hardware to more of software.
Oh, okay,
Right? So
got
now
you. Good example.
We're,
Okay.
we're making things more streamlined for the people who are intended to use it. Right. So
Okay.
you might not, it was called Jock Drive. You're like, that might not be for me. That's cool. I'm looking for the guy who might have to go do a wedding in St. Thomas next week. He can't bring his equipment with him,
Right,
but he can bring his set with him.
Right.
Yeah,
You see what I'm saying?
So I want to point something out to the viewers. So I think it's dope of y'all that y'all was able to get together, brainstorm ideas, and then come up with money. Like those equations are hard to find in people out here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And in your journey of trying to find that next best thing, that next best project, like you might run through like 10 people, like, nah, you're not the right fit. You had the money, but I didn't like your attitude.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was dope that how y'all was able to gel together and stay through different courses and different processes.
Yeah, that's why it's always brotherhood.
Y'all are smart too, well educated, so it's like that helped too. You just can't be dumb trying to. You know what I mean, put that you'll be sitting there all day trying to do that.
Yeah, it's one of these things where I always say that we lead with brotherhood. Because even though that didn't work, even though the real estate joint didn't work, and a couple other things didn't work, it never was like, yo, I don't believe
finger
in him.
pointing. Yeah, it was never finger pointing. No finger pointing. Right. A lot of people do finger pointing in our culture.
Yeah, it was more like, all right, that didn't work.
Okay.
We wasn't really passionate about that. Like, that was Mike's vision. He had expertise in that field.
Yeah.
But did we really know how to develop an app? Did we really know what the benchmarks were? Did we really understand the price associated with it? The capital expenditures for this? Right? What was the scalability model? Like, we ain't really know all that.
Okay.
That's true.
And all we was trying to do was like figure out a business. That's all we were trying to do. And that's why I said, like, you get no, like, there's no knock on you for trying to create a business, right? Like if you
learn from every situation.
You learn from all of it.
Right.
What will happen is the people around you will look at you and say, oh, that didn't work out, that didn't work, until it does work.
Right. Until it does work. Yeah.
And so our thing was like, all right, that didn't work. Let's move on to the next one. Let's figure this next thing out. The next thing just so happened to be the thing that people know us for now.
Now, what led up to the podcast phase after the DJing thing? What made y'all go into that phase of it?
So me and Shotty, he came to my house one day, and he was like, "Yo, I figured this thing out." I was like, "What you talking about?" And he was like, "Yeah, I figured this social media thing out. I think people are looking at this all wrong." I was like, "All right, let's build on that. What you mean?" He was like, "Look, people are looking at it like you're supposed to put pictures up here and people are supposed to like your pictures." He was like, "No, this is the new way to advertise. This is the brand new way to advertise. Like people are not going to be going through print anymore. Magazines are going to be dead soon. Absolutely. I'm telling you, this is the way this is going. Yeah, because if I could put it here, an advertisement here, and pay $100, why would I put it in the New York Times?
Yeah, absolutely.
When they're going to have more users in New York, more subscribers in New York Times anyway. So this is early. This is like 14, 15 again. So
early.
And so we created this. He saw this young lady who had a page called it's a Fashion Climax, one of these fashion joints, and what she was doing, she was putting up like looks, but then like she would put like where you could buy it, things like that. She would put like promotional things on it. I was like, oh wait, she's getting paid to do that. This is before they made you say ad, right? Like they changed the rules since then, but you had to say ad. And he was like, oh, I get it. She's getting revenue from putting these looks up and putting these designers on. So she is the walking advertisement. I was like, oh, I get it. So we created our own joint called Fashion Wave. Right? And we were just like, let's see if we can build enough followers so that we can get paid to advertise. Okay. Right? So we had built, I think we got up to like 13,000 followers.
It's 2015, 16?
This is like 17 now. Okay. This is after the Jock Drop joint.
And this is on what?
This is on
platform?
Instagram
platform, okay.
So we got 13, we're thinking like, yo, if we can get enough subscribers, then we can now charge people to say, hey, you want to reach 100,000 people? Because at that time, you could reach more. It's obviously social media has changed. Right. Definitely Instagram's algorithm has changed.
Yes.
But at that time, you could probably reach like 10,000 of those people.
Yeah, for sure.
And for a very minimal price. If $500 would have been nothing.
Yeah.
But if I get like 10 clients at 500,
oh yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm doing all right.
For sure.
For a week.
For sure.
Now, if I could do that every week, if I could do that every month, now you see these numbers start to add up. But we love fashion, but it wasn't something that we were passionate about. Like we love it, but like to go out and source stores and find pictures, it was like, it became tedious. And so we was like, all right, cool. We got this page, let's go back to the drawing board. And at the time he was again studying it. And he was like, all right, well, here's what we're gonna do. I want to be a celebrity financial advisor. He was already a financial advisor. Like,
okay, right.
Because that's I was his first client when he started that practice. He was like, I want to do that. I'm like, all right, bet. How are we gonna go about this? You know what I'm saying? Like that's why I said the brotherhood's important.
Now with that, was there anybody doing that at that time?
Nah, that's why it was open, open. And he was looking like, oh, this is gonna be the perfect way for me to meet clients.
Be able to like to see that whole landscape and be like, yo, I got the spot to maneuver in.
And the best thing about it is like if you had that idea, I'm looking at you like, all right, let's make this happen. And then Mike's looking at you like, yo, let's make this happen. It wasn't like, oh, I want to be a celebrity teacher. It was like, nah, if that's your vision, how we gonna support that? How
Let's
we
all
gonna make
push
it
it.
bigger?
Let's all push it.
this thing.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like when he
Yeah,
started his practice, it wasn't like who's gonna be his first client. Yo, what time do you want me to sign up? I don't, even if I wasn't thinking about life insurance,
Support.
the fact that you
gotta
doing
support.
it,
Yeah, you gotta support
I gotta
the
go
partner.
support this. I gotta be your first client.
Nah, that's
You
dope.
see what I'm saying?
That's dope.
And so when he wanted to do that, I was like, I bet, let's do it. So him and Mike, we was in LA for our birthdays, and I had left that night, and they drew up a plan for it. And when he came back, he's like, yo, I need a campaign for this thing. I'm like, all right, well, let's draw up a score, like almost like a commercial to launch this thing.
Okay.
And so we sat and we strategized it, and it was great. We like wrote up a whole score for it. It was dope. And he was kind of like, yo, this is gonna work, but I need a slogan for it. Like I need a hashtag. It was like, I was like, all right, bet. Great, that's fine. We got that joint already.
Yeah, this is my, I wanna hear this.
I got the hashtag. I'm gonna get that's easy. I found a hashtag.
crazy.
Because at that time it was hashtags was big.
Yeah. It was
So
on the rest.
we was right here, right in Crunch, where what used to be Crunch. I was like, yo, I got it. Came next, I'm like, I got the hashtag, bro. He's like, what? I'm like, earn your leisure.
Whoa.
Now break down Earn Your Leisure.
promise you.
Where did you get that
I
from?
promise you.
Earn Your Leisure. How do you put that together?
So this will make sense to you.
It's phenomenal.
This will make sense to you because like he's a huge LeBron fan.
Okay.
And so I remember I had lost a bet to him and they went to the finals, or maybe when he won his first championship. This is 2012. And I was like, I lost it. So I bought him the t-shirt.
Okay.
It said, earn, not given. So that always stuck
So you got
with
the
me.
earn part.
Okay.
Right? So the earn always was stuck with me. I'm like, earn, not given. I'm like, yo, that's fly. Nike, that was dope.
Right.
And when I thought about growing up here in Greenberg, especially from people who live in the city and live like in the Bronx, they look at us like silver spoon kids.
Right. Absolutely.
They look like we privileged.
Yes.
They look like we've had everything handed to us. Like there was no hardships. We didn't have to work hard. Mommy
Same
and-
Mount Vernon.
Yeah,
Right,
same
right?
thing.
Yeah,
Same
yeah,
thing. I went through the same thing.
Exactly.
Yeah,
went to the same
Y'all
thing.
from
Country.
y'all
Yeah,
upstate.
exactly.
Y'all
Sure.
upstate. You know what I'm saying? It's like, nah, bro, like we face some of the same hardships. It's not in the amount of abundance because we don't have as many people, but if we did, it would be pretty similar.
Right.
Like you telling me the difference between Mount Vernon and North Bronx.
Right.
It's the same thing.
Same thing.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
241st. I mean, that's Mount Vernon. You feel me? So it's the same
Right.
thing. It's the fact that it's Westchester. So
Right.
it's like, oh, that's a wealthy county. They come from there.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I was like, yeah, people think we don't work hard.
Right.
People think that I didn't have to go to school. I didn't have to work at the center
Right. No,
every summer.
you put
right?
work in.
I didn't have to like be a hall monitor.
Yeah.
I didn't have to go to school at night. I didn't have to go to school on the weekends.
Yeah.
Like, nah, bro. Like,
Right.
all they saw was like, yo,
The fast forward part.
Yeah,
Yeah,
even
fast forward.
in the present, they saw us like driving nice cars.
Yeah.
Right, because
yeah,
we wanted to do that.
Yeah.
They saw us going on vacations.
Yeah,
They're like, yo,
yeah,
dude.
yeah.
But I'm like, nah, bro. Like, we've earned those luxuries.
Yeah.
So we've actually earned some of these freedoms. So I'm like, that's got to be the hashtag because, nah, bro, like they don't understand how hard we had to work, some of the sacrifices you had to make to even get in position. I remember him when he was studying to be in his profession. It was like he'd be in his room for like 20 hours, no sleep studying.
right,
like, yo, I can't come outside. I'm not going out this week. 2 weeks, I'm not going out. I got to study for this thing. All right,
wow.
bro, bet. Nobody sees that part.
Those are good studying habits.
Right?
Yeah.
Nobody sees that part.
I suck at that.
So it's like everything we have at that point, which was like just who we are,
Yeah.
we've earned these leisures.
Okay, the leisures. Okay,
Right, so it was
that's
like-
where the leisures part
Yeah,
comes.
so like
okay.
the leisure was like, nah, we've actually worked for these freedoms. And so it was like
Yeah, so you-
everything was earned.
Exactly.
So when you came back to the crew and was like, earn your leisure, what was the response for everybody? Was they like,
It wasn't even
right away,
everybody.
like-
One by
It was
one.
just him.
Okay.
Oh, okay,
just
yeah,
him.
okay.
It wasn't for everybody. It was just his campaign. And
Okay.
so
And what was his face like when you said that? To him?
He's like, that's kind of whack.
Really?
Yeah, that ass.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what you
Right.
say?
I was like, nah, that's it.
This is it.
I'm
Yeah,
like, nah, this is it. I'm trying to tell you,
Yo.
like, this is it. Like, you got to put this hashtag.
yeah.
It's synonymous with what we've come from. It's synonymous
Yeah,
with what we're
it makes
doing.
sense.
It makes too much sense,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
absolutely.
It makes too much sense. And he was like, so he started putting it on some of his posts.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like,
It started
he
getting
was just
trending.
using it. It was just his.
Oh, okay.
Just his. And then travel pages started putting it. So people thought it was a travel. They thought it was
Yeah,
like
because it sounds like some travel
they
agencies.
thought it was the remember the You Should Be Here?
Okay.
Yeah,
Remember that?
yeah.
The Blue Ribbon dudes?
Uh-huh.
They thought it was part of that multi-marketing scheme. I'm like, damn, nah, that's not it.
That's not it.
And
That's
so
what
he's-
we're trying to do.
Yeah, then he stopped using it, and then Spanx. He hit him like, yo, bro, what happened to that hashtag he was using?
Shout out
And
to
he-
Spanx.
Yeah, shout out to Spanx. He's like, yo, what happened to that hashtag he was using? And Release was kind of fly. And he was like, you think? He's like, yeah, you should definitely keep using that.
Okay.
So he started using it, and then he started putting up his own posts. He was doing radio shows and everything.
Okay.
And people were like, I know he was in a green screen. I think he was talking about Jim Jones and Supreme and how that deal kind of worked out, and 50 Cent Vitamin Water. And people were asking him like, yo, where could I get the rest of that interview? I want to hear the rest of that interview. Where can I find your show? And no joke, he looked at me and was like, yo, we should start a podcast. I'm like, all right. No joke, like we don't come from any background in broadcasting or audio engineering or like none of that stuff. I was just like, he want to do it? Let's do it. And
this is during the pandemic.
This 2018.
Oh, okay. No, so the pandemic didn't hit yet. Okay.
Okay. This 2018.
But that's right. You guys were doing it for like a year or two before the pandemic hit, and then the pandemic hit, and that's when everybody was home. We were
teaching in the classrooms before that.
Okay.
Yeah. So we said like, all right, let's do it. We tried to come up with some names. His name was Money, Power, Respect. Okay. I was like, I wanted to have it as dumb rappers need teaching because it's just one of my favorite lines. Okay. I don't like the double entendre of like dumb people they need teaching. He's like, yo, don't alienate nobody. And so when we thought about it, he was just like, yo, Earn Your Leisure's ours. We should just go with that. And so we just like, all right, let's go. Let's trademark it and let's move.
So real quick, we're going to pay some bills. We'll be back. Troy, Earn Your Leisure. Nothing but love. Stay tuned.
Yes, sir.
Mic check, 1 2 1 2.
Yep.
Back with the Nothing But Love podcast. We got Troy Millings from Earn Your Leisure in the building.
Yes, sir.
Talking that big bag talk. Pay attention. Get your pad out.
Yeah.
And so we're gonna dive back into. We were talking about the Earn Your Leisure podcast. How did that start?
Yeah. So at that point, we said we got the name, and then we sat down in my house. And we was just like, yo, let's write down the people that we would want to be on our show. Okay. And we wrote down 10 names. I think we both had Jay at the top. I think Nipsey was number 2 for us.
Okay.
So this is like this is December of 2018. And so we like, how do we do this? We have no idea. Like, I don't know how to even record. Like, I've never picked up a microphone.
Right.
I was nice with the computer. So like I was a guy that was illegally downloading music.
Okay.
Statute of limitation has expired.
Disclosure.
That's a
disclaimer.
Quick disclaimer. So I was good with technology.
Okay.
So I was like, I'll figure this out. And so I used to go to Guitar Center.
Okay.
And I was like, all right, I need somebody here to teach me how to record a podcast. I promise you. I'll go there on Saturdays. I'll sit down and I'll be like, all right, how do you do this? I open this interface up. So here's my laptop. Yeah, here's my laptop. Show me again. All right, now what microphone should I use?
Really?
Hook it up and let me see.
On a Saturday?
Yeah. Then I'll come back Sunday and like, yo, it didn't work. Do it again.
Okay.
Because I wanted to, once I see it.
Yeah.
Now I know it.
Okay.
Right? So I had a microphone. Like, all right,
you did this with the crew or you did this
yourself? By myself. It's by myself.
Wow. Okay.
Because we don't have anybody. It's just me and Shadi. I promise you. And then we put a call out and like on Instagram, like, yo, if anybody can help us, we would love it. And so shout out to my man Sid. He was like, yo, I have some experience with audio. I can help y'all out. And so he would come and he would help us out. We had some like shotgun mics, nothing like this. And he started recording while we would tape in the episode. So originally it was just me and Shadi. Okay. And we telling the backstories on sports, business, entertainment.
And where was y'all recording at? Like somebody's house? Or
so
what?
The first 5 episodes we did it in his actual office.
Okay.
Yeah, but those never came out. We never released those.
Okay.
That's like behind the scenes footage that nobody's ever seen.
And why was that? Y'all wasn't comfortable with it?
Yeah,
what?
You know what? We didn't even.
Oh, y'all needed to practice.
No, we didn't even think about YouTube. We wasn't thinking about YouTube.
Wow.
We were just like, now how y'all like, yo, I got to record. Like, y'all recording now? We wasn't like, oh, we got to record and put this on YouTube and that's another way we can make money. Because there is no training book to like how to do this. We were literally just figuring this thing out on our own. And so the first 5 episodes, we have the visuals, we just never put them out. Okay. They were just audio episodes. And then we got hip, shout out. So this is when Mike came in, so he's like, yo, we're losing money, right? We should actually be putting this on YouTube. And so Mike became our third partner. Originally, it was just me and Shadi. And then we were like, yo, Mike has so many skills, so many tangible things that could help the business. We might as well just make him our partner. He's our brother anyway. Okay. So he becomes our partner.
That was dope. That was dope.
And so episode 6, rather than shooting in his office, I mean, he used to come to my dining room. He's like, yo, the painting here is nice, bro. We should do it here. And I'm like, it's my dining room. But I'm like, all right, we don't have to pay for this.
Right.
Like we can use this anytime we want. This is gonna be perfect. And so when people see that green wall in the first 50 episodes, we're talking about, that's literally my dining room, which was tough because that means this is not soundproof. I still got my kids there. My wife is there. I used to be like, yo, babe, you can't be here. You gotta go. Yeah, we shooting 2 episodes today. Yeah, you gotta take them to the mall. Because we can't. I'm working. Right. But we're not, you know what I'm saying? At the time, I still have my like, I'm still teaching. Like, I'm still teaching. So it was never like, we're gonna do this to make money. Okay. Initially, we was gonna do it just so we could get clients. And then
the clients, back to that.
Back to that. It was always like, that was gonna be the
celebrity
financial advisor.
Okay.
And so we want to solicit them by giving the information, and then they would track them. And then we kept doing it, and like, I probably by March, I was like, wait, people really rocking with this. Like,
and that's 18 or 19?
2019.
Okay,
so we start January. First episode gets like 1,200, maybe 1,600 downloads. I'm like, I'm thinking like, if we got 20, we'd be dope. Right. But what helped is that he had built a social media campaign, so people were anticipating something from him. Okay. So that kind of helped us, right? And it was like, even in the beginning, it was like his social media followers were like here, and we were at 0 as Earning Alicia. Right. And then by like, I'm telling you, a couple months, it was like here, and then it was like, because people will gravitate toward a brand more so than they'll gravitate toward a person. Right. They don't want to support you, but they'll support the brand, right? That you're affiliated with. You know what I'm saying? That's just how it is. And so we ran with that. I was like, man, I'm sitting in school. I'll never forget. I'm teaching. I'm in class. I don't want to check my phone, but I see it buzzing. People going, like, I'm looking at Instagram. People, I'm listening to this in Kuwait. Yo, I just listened to this episode in Tokyo. Y'all changing the world. Yo, I'm in prison right now listening to this. Yo, do not stop. Y'all talking a language that nobody spoke to.
What kind of topics did you start off with? Like, what were you saying, like the first couple episodes? Like,
so
how did you...
we would take case studies, right? So it would be like whatever's trending in the world of business and sports. And so like Airbnb, like how that company was formed. Like most people don't know that it started on a cereal box that they made for the presidential election. It was Obama, I think Mitt Romney. And literally they launched the cereal campaign to do that, which actually funded them staying in a room, and they created Airbnb inside that room. So like, we're giving the backstories. Illegal Dangote, who's the wealthiest
African billionaire.
He's the worst black person on the planet.
He's like the rich,
Nobody knew who he was. Let's give him a story about that. You see what I'm saying? So we telling all these stories.
That was
50 Cent's his mansion in Connecticut.
Right.
Let's talk about let's break down that.
Break down that, right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the lessons that we can learn from that? I remember saying the word white elephant, and people were like, well, what's a white elephant? And they were like, let's break down the structure on that. Right. Let's see how that ties to 2004 Greece Olympics, where they built all these stadiums for the Olympics. They built infrastructure, but not realizing that who's going to facilitate that infrastructure when the Olympics leaves, right? There's a huge debt on the payment of that. So how do we get that money back? You don't, right? And then the country, they lose. You see what happens to them.
So real quick, I want to point out to y'all, powerful thing that you just said was, y'all took the case studies. That's very important. That was a vital move that y'all did. That was vital.
The student loan crisis at the time that had just happened. Okay. Right, where the parents were paying to have their kids go to like USC. There was all these celebrities. Well, people like heard it, but did they ever hear it broken down to a way that makes sense to them? Like, is anybody talking in our language about it? It was like, oh wait, we really have
a
something.
real discussion about it. Exactly.
And so then it became, okay, this is dope. And then episode 11 changed everything for us. When my man Derek Falcon, who was a restaurateur in Baltimore, he came. It was just raw. I'm talking like raw. Like, dude just came home. He had this restaurant in Baltimore called Homemade. Shout out to him. And he gave the blueprint of the restaurant business. Like, I'm talking about down to how you should be making your menus, how you should be scaling your business from 7 different sources from the same tree, like to the point where it's like, yo, here's how you should be pricing. I'm like,
oh, so y'all
you gave it all.
Y'all giving the game right on the show.
And so he was the first one to do it. And I was like, we looked at each other like, that's the new format. Like that, this is the new format.
This is it.
And so after that was like, wait, people love this so much. Like, yo, well, let's find the everyday person. Because it's cool to have celebrities, but we don't know any.
Right.
Like everybody looks like, yo, y'all interviewed Robert Smith. Y'all sat down with Steve Harvey. Yeah. But in 2019, we didn't know anybody.
Okay,
we knew each other.
Right.
But we knew that people had value that could be added to the community.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
you get the CPA. That's our first interview.
Absolutely.
She's our first interview. She's
Okay.
still our CPA, right? We get our brother MG, the mortgage guy, talk about real estate, right? Real estate almost hurt. I mean, crippled my family, right? We didn't have education around it. Then we get our trademark attorney, right? Then we start talking about buying homes with using hard money, right? Like now, the first person I get that people don't even know, but I had my brother Derek Ferguson, who was a mentor to me in church, and I was like, but you're the CEO of Revolt TV, and you're the chief financial officer for Sean Combs Enterprises. You want to sit down with us? And he was like, you know what? I've been working for 25 years. Nobody's ever asked me what I do. I would love to sit down. I'm like,
oh, that was the plug.
There
Bing,
it
bing,
is.
bing.
How many of the people in the world have never been asked what they do, but have vitally important jobs?
Right.
A lot of
And
people.
vitally important careers. And so
Right,
it became
right.
that became the
They
path.
love to tell
Yeah, and
tell
don't
the
mind giving it
Of
for free.
course. So then we get somebody that's doing a nonprofit. Then it's like, we become the smorgasbord for all ideas, right? So if we're talking about, now I always use that J line, like, oh, we got sports and entertainment. Well, nah, Jay, you might have been right in that moment, and that's the only thing that we value, but we about to break this whole thing open and show you all the different avenues that you can be successful in,
Crazy.
right? And now you can choose from, right? Like you grew up, especially in, what was the aspirations when you grew up? What could you have been that would have made your parents happy?
Come on, Mike.
I mean, definitely going to college, being an accountant. I wanted to be an accountant.
That was it?
Yeah.
What about you?
I don't know, man. I think more so a fireman.
Fireman?
Always want to be like a fireman. Or
That's
something.
like these noble professions.
Right.
Like you Jamaican, it was like, you're gonna be a doctor or a lawyer.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
And if you don't do that, then what? Like it ain't even valued. You see what I'm saying?
Right,
Like,
right,
Exactly.
right,
Just have it
right.
tough.
Yeah,
NBA,
like,
you know what I
good
mean?
luck, man.
Sports.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's it. That's all it's really left for us.
Either you singing crack rock or you
Yeah.
got a wicked jump shot.
Yeah.
Right,
Those are the lines
That's a
we
fact.
grow
That's
up on.
That's
You
a
see what I'm
fact.
saying? And so
That's
it's
true.
like, damn, we really hold value in these things, but these people are actually more important. Have my parents had education around real estate, I still have the house that they bought in 1988. They didn't.
They didn't.
And so I ended up living in a basement for a year. You see what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
Like, think about what that does. They don't even buy a house for the next 25 years because they don't even feel safe knowing that they made that mistake and they know they can't afford to make it again.
25 years of money out the window.
You know what I'm saying? Now we paying rent for 25 years. Right? So it's like
Right.
that financial trauma sticks with us, but also the trauma of not knowing what we can aspire to be also sticks with us. And so now it's important that like their teacher, their counselor is doing this, right? Because now it's like, oh, I can be that and I can be respected when I do it. That was the goal, was like, yo, yeah, we got nice cars. Yeah, but we got we got careers. Like I'm a teacher. I take no shame in that. I get paid 6 figures. I take no shame in that.
Right.
People are like, what? I'm like, yeah, no, I was doing all right.
Yeah.
For all this. I was
Right.
good. You know I was good.
Right. Facts.
Right? And so now it was like, there's value in that. So like the kid who's trying to be the next tech entrepreneur, we're going to value him. We're going to shower him with information. We're going to give him resources. Not just the kid who's like, yo, he going to the league.
Exactly.
Yo, make sure he got them fly kicks on. Because we know like if we take care of him, eventually he's going to come back and take care of us.
Absolutely.
So did
Plant
you
the seed.
find
Exactly.
did you find when COVID came out, did that boost y'all? Because people was home and like y'all got tuned in on hard body because people was home.
That was like
People
the
scared to
tipping
come
point
out.
right there, right?
Yeah, COVID was a blessing for us in a lot of ways. I know it was unfortunate for a lot of people, a lot of families, a lot of people lost their lives,
Right.
lost family members, but we have been preparing ourselves for a moment like that. Like we started in 2019. That's why I said really just God's plan. Right? We had started the year prior to, so we had a catalog of 55 episodes at that time. And so now people are home. People got a little bit of money.
Right. They got money because
The stimulus checks.
you can't go to no restaurant, no
yeah.
club, no nothing. So extra money's there.
You can't go nowhere, so you got money. But now people they're sending stimulus checks too
Right.
at this time, right?
Right.
'Cause
Right.
Make more
At the
money
time.
staying home.
Yeah.
People making money staying home. So now you can't spend it. So what you gonna do with it? And so we know one thing in our community is before they do that, if we don't know what to do with our money, we know we're gonna spend it.
Right.
We're gonna spend it. We're gonna
For sure.
Even if we can't go out.
Shop online.
We go, yeah.
Oh, shop online.
Amazon.
No, we got shop online.
Clothes,
Amazon.com.
sneakers. Exactly.
Yeah, you know they have Macy's.com.
Yeah.
A lot
trying
of
to get a
TikTok
discount.
videos with new clothes on wasn't going nowhere. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like,
we having house parties on Zoom.
yeah, absolutely.
That's what we doing, right?
Yeah.
Until
That was
we
big too. That Zoom thing. Yeah,
I invested in it. So then we looking at it like, all right, well, they home, they got money. There's an opportunity here. So at the time, we had just put out this episode about investing in the stock market.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to my brother Ian Dunlap, master investor. It goes crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It goes crazy. Mm-hmm. So we like, yo.
Ian.
Yeah.
That's in Texas.
Yeah.
Shout out to Ian. That's my guy.
Yeah. So at the time, we had his episode. We shot that in January. I'll never forget. He came to my house with a like director's chair. I'm like, nah, we don't need that, bro. Yeah. We gonna do it right here on the table.
Yeah. Right.
And he's like, yo, this is the first person that ever brought us a gift too. I'll never forget. I always tell him that. Like, we did his episode is number 70. So we had done all those episodes. He was the first person that actually came to the episode like, yo, this is for y'all. I got some cologne. Like, I appreciate the work y'all doing. Okay. That was a great gesture with him, which I knew was a good sign.
So how was y'all able to connect with him to get him on the podcast?
Crazy, bro. When we was doing the show in 2019, we took the hip hop approach. If you want to see if you hot, go touch the road. That's where the music part comes into it. Okay. Like we always like touch the road, go do a pop up. And so we like, all right, well, the pop ups for like music was like you go to an in-store, sign some autographs, get the album, take some pictures. Right. We're like, all right, well, we're gonna do the pop up, but we're gonna do it in a business way. We're gonna have a networking event. Mm-hmm. So the first one we did is in Cali. Like we from New York. We did, and we wasn't even in LA. We was in Carson, California, which is like 45 minutes outside. Mm-hmm. At this restaurant, black-owned entrepreneur, created his own restaurant. 300 people showed up in LA. I was like, oh, wow. We don't know anybody here, bro. 300 people showed up. Bet. So we did that one in April. This is right after Nipsey had died. We said, we got to do one in New York. We did one in Brooklyn at BK9. Shout out to BK9. Yo, the overflow was in the street. We were like, oh, all right, let's keep doing it. Next one we do Atlanta, right? Packed out again. All right, let's go to another market. Let's see what we're doing. Go to Houston. So we in Houston, there's this young girl. She's like, yo, this is guy I want you to meet. We're like, whatever. Yeah, cool. She's like, nah, this guy, he you don't know him. He doesn't have a big following. But what he's doing in the market with the futures, y'all haven't spoken about futures. Y'all talked about stocks. Y'all haven't talked about futures. He's killing it. We're like, all right, whatever. Take our number. Let's hang out. We'll find him. All right, cool. She keeps hitting us up. I'm like,
she keeps hitting y'all.
We never speak to him.
Okay.
She's speaking for him.
Right.
We're like, I'm like, all right, let's set it up. So we set the interview up. He flies up, does the interview, and
flies to Atlanta.
No, New York. He comes to my house.
Oh wow.
He flew from Houston to my house. He sat in my living room.
So he believed y'all that much. Like, yeah, I'm flying up.
I'm flying up.
That's dope.
He flew up.
Shout out to Ian one more time.
Flew up. We did the episode and we sat on it.
Okay.
So we kept, and then
So you had it.
We had it. Every week he like, yo, when
you coming out? Yeah. Man, we've been through that.
When y'all gonna drop that joint?
Right.
Like, no, we
get that on time. When you gonna drop it?
It's coming, bro. Yeah. We gonna drop. We about to put it out.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So January happens, we don't put it out. February happens, he like, yo, bro, if y'all didn't like it, I'm like, nah, we gonna put it out.
It's a strategy.
I promise you,
down.
March 11th, 2020, world shuts down.
Yeah.
March 20th, we put the episode out.
Oh, it's incredible.
That week goes crazy.
It's incredible.
Oh, it's going crazy, right?
Yeah.
So we put out the idea like, yo, we already got Earn Your Leisure. This might slow down a little bit. Let's create another show. Okay. And so he's like, who's interested in the show? I promise you. You know the raise your hand emoji?
Yeah.
Ian's in the comment, raising his hand. Like, Shai puts up the post like, yo, we interested in finding new talent? Yeah. If you're interested in starting a show, let us know. Hit us up. He put the raise hand emoji. Yeah. So we hit him like, yo, what's up? He's like, I want to do a show. I want to do a show with y'all.
Oh, that's what Marketing Mondays come.
I got the text, March 27th, I text Shadi. I said, yo, I sent them Market Mondays. We'll break down the market every week. Like, I have the text.
Yeah.
We're like, all right, let's go. April, we launched Market Mondays. So now the market crashes.
Right.
Like, we're like, how low is this thing gonna fall?
Yeah.
But we have the information. So we're telling people, like, yo, we had did the episode before. You should invest in Zoom. If this thing shuts down, this is how we're gonna communicate. Yeah. Now people are like, oh, wait, I invested in Zoom. I made money. They're about to start a new show on this. So now we got the people coming in. As they watching the show, they making money. So they coming back every week.
Oh, so they're believing that. They're believing.
Once you've made somebody else money, oh, they in.
No, they in.
Oh, they in.
Absolutely.
You building your base.
Yeah.
Because not only is the information working for them, but it's actually changing their life. Like people are changing their lives. People are having more income than they've ever had. Plus, they might have lost their job. Right? This is the pandemic. Or they don't know where the next dollar's coming from. An extra 10,000 ain't gonna. I'm watching people make 30,000, 40,000, 50,000. I had to do a couple people, I made $1 million. Like, I'm like, what?
They had the capital. So,
you know what I'm saying?
And your formula made sense.
But even if they had limited capital, you could have built it to 100. Just because the market was so low. And it was like, throw a dart at anything. Throw a dart. It was like, throw a dart at the company. It's going to go up.
It's going to go up.
Yeah, but we were teaching the fundamentals inside of that too. And once people started gravitating toward that, I mean, it was over.
So real quick, how did the filming go down? Was y'all doing it like he's in one place, y'all in another place, or was like flying back and forth? Or was it a mixture with everything?
So this is crazy. People don't even realize this. For the first year, we did Market Mondays, I saw him one time in person.
Okay.
Like,
everything through Zoom.
Yeah. We only had met for his interview. Right. And we ain't see him for a while because you couldn't go nowhere.
Right.
And then maybe for the first year and a half or so. And then
Zoom, first year and a half.
Just Zoom. I'm just talking to him through Zoom. We going over notes through.
You're doing all Marketing Mondays, do Zoom.
Every Market Monday, really. Unless he flies to New York or we happen to be somewhere where we're together, then we shoot it together. But for the most part, even now, we're not in the same state. Sometimes not even the same country. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
I noticed that. He's always like somewhere else.
Yeah. So
that's like a split screen, really.
It's always a split screen.
Y'all not together. Okay, got you.
Unless, like I said, if we're in the same place, he comes to New York, or there's been times where we've all been on vacation and he was with us. So it always works. But we just had a natural chemistry on camera. So the working relationship just became even easier. And so we had Earning Your Leisure already going. Market Mondays became just as popular.
Oh yeah, Market Mondays took off.
Oh my God, it's like
I had people calling me about that.
People be like, "Yo, man, I love what y'all doing, man. I tune in every."
Telling me about it. I was like, "What's Market Mondays?"
I was promoting y'all crazy.
It's crazy. People would say like, "Yo, I love what y'all doing. I watch every Monday."
Yeah.
To the point where we were just like, "Yo, well, we put out Earn Your Leisure every Tuesday."
Yeah.
They just know Market Mondays.
Market Mondays, yeah.
And so it became synonymous with people changing their lives from a financial standpoint. Outside of like an interview show where you can find different opportunities to be successful, to now here's an investment show where we're talking about real estate, we're talking about the market,
especially
we're talking about crypto.
Our skin color, our culture.
Nobody talked to us.
Yeah, nobody talked about that.
Like even now, I did this class yesterday, I was telling you, I'm still teaching people how to open up a brokerage account. But here's the interesting thing, right? They had this, I think it was the Kiplings. They put out this report that from 2019 to present day, the largest population of people who have opened up a brokerage account are Black people.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, 2019, we started Earn Your Leisure to present day. So you can see the impact, but there's so much more, right? 67%, I think, is the number. So imagine when that number gets up to 80%, 90%.
So educate me on something.
Yeah.
Let's take it back.
Let's go.
Because I remember Wall Street Trapper came before Ian.
Yeah,
right?
he
was like brief, like.
He was our second episode on stocks. So he's episode 44, another classic episode.
Okay, yeah.
And so his story is real too. That same time when we went to Houston, when we met the young lady, shout out to Jury, we met him.
Oh, okay.
We met him. And so
you had a little run with him.
Yeah. So another one.
And how did that came about? That was through somebody,
right when we went to Houston, he met us in the Houston stop. So when we was doing the networking, he met us in the Houston stop.
Okay, y'all politicking.
Politic for a quick, and then so that was in August, October. He was like, "I'm coming to New York for this event. Love to sit down with y'all." No joke. We had to give him. I remember he took the train for the first time.
Okay.
You know, he's not free from New Orleans, so he took the train.
He took the train to New York.
No, he took the train while he was here.
Got on
we
the
were like,
train.
"Where y'all at?"
Okay.
And so we got him on the train. Then we got him on the Metro North, and then Shotty grabbed him from the train station.
Okay.
And brought him to my house. So we shot the episode that night.
Okay.
And when he left, I looked at him like, "Yo, we got a classic."
Okay.
Like sometimes you just feel it.
It was there.
You just feel
it was there.
Like,
the information was good. And he got good energy.
I'm like, "We got a classic, bro."
Yeah.
And it was crazy. The next night we went to my homegirl's nonprofit event. Shout out to Nicole Russell, who was a guest on the show.
Okay.
And I'm in line and I look behind me and he's standing there. I'm like, "Oh, this the event you was coming to?" I'm like, "Yo, bro, listen to me. We got a classic." Okay. So I hope you're ready for the effects of what happens next.
Right.
Because it became a thing where people came on the show. not only did they see their business elevate, they saw their profiles elevate.
No, all that. Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So I'm like,
That
yo,
was-
that's what's next.
Wall Street Trapper was powerful, but then when the Market Mondays came, it was stages. I want
Yeah.
y'all to realize that.
Yeah.
This was all stages. So right now we're gonna jump around because I want to cram a lot of information.
Let's do it.
So we're gonna jump around. The first thing we're gonna talk about is the school situation
Mm-hmm.
that y'all doing. So what we're gonna talk about is in the Bronx, they teamed up with a superintendent. Earn Your Leisure teamed up with a superintendent, and they're trying to slightly change the curriculum. So tell the viewers about that.
Yeah, so shout out to, and I gotta give a lot of credit. Sometimes in life, your story comes full circle.
Right.
And so the first time I ever walked inside of a school was in the Bronx.
Okay.
All right, so PS 93 in the South Bronx. It's the first time I ever get introduced to school. The first time I ever walk into a profession as a teacher, it's in the Bronx. And so shout out to 113 Richard Green, everybody on 217th and Barnes. Love is love.
Shout out to the Bronx.
Nothing but love. Right? And so when while I was there, one of the things I always felt towards the end of my tenure there, I did 8 years there, I started to feel complicit. And that's a tough feeling to fight.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because I didn't feel like I was doing my job. I just felt like I could be doing more. I felt like what the kids were learning was going to be applicable in their futures. I felt like what they were teaching was completely irrelevant to their
Completely.
daily environment.
To the 10th power.
Yeah,
Exactly.
to their environment
Yes.
that they face.
Yes.
I
That's
felt
true.
like every day I was pressing reset. Like I could be a strong Black man, male role model, father figure, uncle, guidance counselor, all those things. But every day I left and went back home and I came back the next morning, it was reset. Because people say like you're a product of your environment. I think our kids are more products of their circumstances, right? And so if they don't have opportunities, then they become a product of not having opportunities. Nobody grows up thinking, you know what, I'm gonna sell drugs one day. Yeah, I think that's gonna be the career path for me, right? Nobody grows up thinking that, right? Your circumstances sometimes will dictate that.
Right.
And so it was just an overwhelming feeling to me. And so, I had left the Bronx, went to New Rochelle to teach, and it still sat with me. I was like, there's got to be something else. But during that time, I had the opportunity to still be at the center, and I had that program, the summer program, Crossroads. And during it, it was like a clean slate. Like I could teach anything I want. I had freedom to do anything I wanted. So I was like, cool. We're gonna get them prepared for the work field. We're gonna get them prepared for secondary education, post-secondary education, and then we're gonna get them prepared for life, right? Especially from a financial standpoint. So I was like, perfect. Here's what I'll do. I know Shadi's doing financial advising. I'm gonna have him come in and he's gonna teach financial literacy, right? So I'm like, perfect. He was like, I hate school. Right? Always hate school. I'm like, all right, here's what we'll do. We'll co-teach it. I'll write the lessons. You'll be the face of it because sometimes you need to have different flavor in the classroom. So we were doing that for years. And I'm telling you, every year I did it, the kids were like, we want that program. We want more. I'm like, it's not, if it had a school element, but it was fun. And they loved it. And I'm like, if we can get kids to feel like this about school, we've mastered it.
Right.
And they loved it because it was money. I'm like, all right, we got to figure this thing out. So fast forward, Earn Your Leisure comes about, but the school thing is still on my heart. Education is my thing. Obviously, Shadi, same thing. He was starting to talk in schools too. And so we wanted to do a curriculum. We were like, we know there's an issue. We know there's a problem. We know there's a lack, but that gives us a space to create opportunity. We never look at it like, oh, that's too bad. It's like, all right, well, that was meant for us to create this opportunity.
Absolutely.
Right? Nobody was talking about financial education.
Right.
Perfect. That gives us space. Nobody has a financial curriculum inside of schools. Perfect.
Perfect.
We can fill that void.
Right.
And then that can go around to all the schools.
So that was the plan. So we met a principal, Travis Brown. He has a school, Farrell's Academy in the Bronx. He was like, yo, huge fan of what you do. I love you.
It's a charter school?
It's a charter school.
Okay.
He's like, look, love what you guys doing. If you ever think about doing curriculum, let me know. I would love to help.
Oh, that's dope.
We were like, perfect, because we're actually thinking about doing curriculum. Let's do it. So we sat down with him, been working on it for like 2 years, and we were like, I think we got something. We got something. So we shot videos, we went over it. It's a whole process, creating curriculum, because it has to meet standards, all these things. We're like, this is great if we do it in this school, but let's figure out how we can get it throughout the city. He was like, yo, I have a bunch of principals that I know. Shout out to OSG. It's like, I'm sure some of them are gonna want to have this. It's too good. Plus, they know what y'all about. They know y'all strength. Let's do it. And so we hooked up with Fia Davis. I mean, who was the superintendent in the Bronx, District 11. It was like, she was like, I would love to. I would love to figure out how to get it in my schools. And when she told me District 11, it hit me. I'm like, this is like full circle.
That's where I was at. Yeah.
Wow.
I was literally in 11X287. That was my middle school. It was in the 113 campus, but that was my district.
Yeah.
And so I felt like this is
it. This is it.
If we gonna go back, we gonna go back, I'm going back like this.
This is it. Right.
I'm going back in this way with this curriculum to uplift this community. Again, the community that I had left 10 years prior, I need to come back in this manner. It's needed, but not only is it needed in that community, it's needed throughout the city. And so the goal is, all right, well, we get it in 12 schools that they're going to be launching it in the Bronx. After that, it's like, all right, well, the whole Bronx needs it. Yeah. But doesn't Queens need it too? Doesn't Brooklyn need it?
Everybody needs
it. Everybody needs it. So now let's talk with the mayor. Let's talk to the school chancellor. Matter of fact, let's go talk to whoever we can, right? People heard that we're going to do this. Now, Baltimore calls us, right? Westmore's the governor. We got a pretty good relationship with him. Okay. Let's see how we can make this work, right? I take every city and now I can implement this. But then corporations are looking at it like, oh, wait, y'all are doing this?
That's
People
crazy.
trust y'all. Yeah. Let's figure out how we can work together. It gets to the point where it's like now you're talking to the Secretary of Education who controls the entire country, right? And so now we're talking full circle, right? So the goal is to launch it in the Bronx. We're going to pilot it. Probably going to have, by the time this comes out, we'll probably have the news conference for it. Okay. Pilot it in the Bronx in 12 schools. Eventually get it citywide. I want to make it state mandated, right? The same way that you had tech and you had home ec growing up.
Right. But
why wasn't financial education?
Yeah, this is a curriculum.
We had typing as a class.
Right. Facts.
Right? Like why wouldn't financial education be part of that? It's the most vital thing you'll need, right? You're gonna pay taxes. You're gonna need to make money.
That's dope.
And you're gonna need to live somewhere.
That's dope.
But nobody tells you how to do any of those things.
That's true.
It becomes like, I call it the uncle theory. It's like when your car breaks down, you call your uncle. But your uncle ain't a mechanic. He don't know. he guessing. You see what I'm saying?
So right now we're gonna jump on to one more topic. We're going to talk about you met with the Vice President of the United States. Tell the viewers
what name, man.
Tell the viewers what that was like.
I appreciate that you said the Vice President of the United States.
Right.
Because we would just leave it up until the point we knew what was happening. Yeah. We were just like, yeah, we're going to sit down with the Vice President. Yeah. And most people would be like, oh, okay, of Sony? Like,
oh, for the United States.
Yeah, like, nah, yeah. I'm like, they're like, oh, like BlackRock. I'm like, nah, America. They're like, oh, soft flex. Yeah. I'm like, I guess. It was, you know what, man? Sometimes you're so entrenched in the work that you don't even realize the moments that you're in. So sometimes you got to sit back and reflect, because it's not. I don't know too many people that have met the Vice President or the President of the United States. That's not something that happens. Right. We've had the luxury of meeting her on a few occasions. And so the first time she invited us to a meeting of the minds, I would say, of Black excellence. That's how they titled this dinner. And it was super interesting. We sat down, we got this invite. I'm like, this is cool. This is cool. So one of her staff members was a fan of the show. Was trying to find us, wanted to meet us. Where did I meet Stephanie? Essence. So we had an Essence Festival, run into her. I've been looking for you. Like the VP, I've been trying to get in contact with you guys. I'm like, here we are. Here we are. And so she puts us on a list and we get invited to this dinner and we sit down. Now it's me, I think Don Cheadle sitting next to me. Like Fat Joe sitting across from me.
Fat Joe, I remember that.
He's sitting across from me. Sally's at the other end of the table. Will Packer sitting next to him.
Okay.
The Madam Vice President is sitting next to Don. Spike Lee sitting next to her. Roland Martin. I'm just like,
you with the big dogs.
Looking at it like, yo, the two
things
dudes
are
from
different.
Greenberg.
Things are different right now.
I'm like, this is
gas right there, right?
It was just a moment.
It's a surreal moment. Surreal.
I'd have been gassed like a
out of body experience.
Exactly. I'd have been like, yo, I made it, yo. Yeah.
you seen the movie The Butler?
Yeah.
Like when they got the people coming. Yo, I'm in the scene. I'm in the scene. I'm watching people coming out with the gloves.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing, and we got the presidential plates, and I'm
Absolutely.
like,
And
I'm
then
like,
you got
yo.
the security aspect. Of
Oh
everything.
yeah, of course. I mean that part.
Secret Service.
Was the food good?
Food was great. Food was great.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm honestly sitting there like 6 years ago, I was teaching kids how to skip.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like no joke.
Yeah.
And now I'm sitting here
Yeah.
in
Going back,
the
right?
vice president's
Vice
house
president, yeah.
having dinner.
Wow.
So we're all sitting there having a conversation and doors closed. And she looks at us and she's like, what happens in this room stays in this room.
Okay.
But we're going to talk about some things.
Mm.
Matter of fact, I want everybody to speak. I want you to tell me what you think about the job I'm doing. Go. Go. And then everybody speaks. Right? So Fat Joe goes first.
I know. He had a lot to say.
Yeah.
He had a lot to say.
Joe goes first. Joe goes first.
Yeah.
And he sets it off.
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
like under my chair rooting, like, yeah. Rooting for him. I'm like, yeah, see that shit.
Yeah, Joe.
Yeah. I'm like,
Joe
crack. I'm like, yeah, he's saying all the shit I want to say. I'm like, perfect.
Yeah.
Now that's not uncomfortable no more.
Yeah.
So he sets it off. Everybody goes around the table.
Dice.
And then it's like, it comes all the way around and she looks. It's like, she's like one person from me.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Dontil speaks back. She was like, so what do you think? And I'm like, well, I was like, look, man, we need more. I just told her we need more.
Okay.
I'll say that. I just told her we
Okay,
need
that's
more.
cool.
We want to see more.
Yeah.
How do we
Yeah,
help you
absolutely.
see more?
Yeah, yeah.
So from that, they invited us back for our Christmas party. And when we were there, I'm watching this person who was not the persona that I saw on TV. Right? I'm watching a person
The
who's
real person in
it's like
front
a
of
real person.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
talking,
Yeah, all
joking.
that, all
She's
that,
with
all
her,
that.
her girls, they dancing,
Yeah.
Beyonce's playing.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah. This is the
they
vice president.
should see this person.
This is the vice president. Yeah.
And then I start to realize how politics works even more. And it's a unique position she's in, right? Now, obviously, she's the first female vice president, the first black vice president.
Right.
But she's also in a unique position where she potentially could be the next president.
the next president.
correct.
Right? If
Absolutely.
something happens to our
Correct.
president,
Yeah. Correct.
she's next in line.
It's a whole fact.
So you got to like think about how many people don't want to see that happen, right?
Yeah.
There's a whole group of that, right? You got a whole party that doesn't want
Yeah,
that,
for sure.
But you got some people inside of this party that doesn't want that. But then you also have the people who want her job because she is next in line, right? So if let's say he wins, then technically she would be the next front runner to be the leader of the
The
Democratic
next
Party,
round up.
right?
Yeah.
So how many people want that job, right? You have 50 governors, right? How many of them are Democratic? Because they'll probably be looking. I'm sure, Governor Newsom in California is looking at that like this is opportunity. So you got people who want to make sure that she doesn't succeed, so they can take her job. And then anything she does do, the vice president never gets credit for. It's going to be part of the top dog's administration. They did it, and so even if you do things, you're not really getting credit for it, right? It's going to be under the Biden administration. So she's in a unique position, but to see her amongst her peers having a good time, I was like, that's a dope person. So fast forward, they wanted us to come sit down with us. She wanted to kick off this economic tour, and they called us and they were like, she doesn't want to do this with anybody but you guys. Straight up. She was like, look, we're coming to a few cities. I know Detroit, they just did. I think New York was a possibility, and I think they're going to, I think LA, because she's from Cali. And I was like, I'm like, yeah, we're going to be out of town that week. I don't know if we can make it. They're like, no problem, we'll push it back. I'm like, okay. Okay.
So, one more thing. Let's talk about Ghana. I see I've been to Ghana a few times.
Yeah.
Y'all look like y'all want to make some real estate moves, some other couple of agriculture moves out there.
Yeah.
Tell the world about those experiences why y'all keep going back to Ghana, because I see y'all kind of fell in love with the
real
whole
estate
system
aspect
there.
of it, too.
Yeah, Ghana,
Yeah.
Ghana is so important to us. I think it should be Africa should be so important to all of us. But we want to lead by example. I think it's super important that we, as a media company, as a media brand, we have the opportunity and the privilege to shape narrative. So we grow up thinking of Africa as one way, right? It's like send a dollar, save a child.
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. That's how we saw
That's
it.
how we
Yeah,
saw it growing up.
Yeah.
When I promise you, when I went to Nigeria and I saw a beach, and I was like, I had never seen a beach in Africa like displayed to me.
Yeah. Like a dope beach. Yeah.
I'm
Like a
sitting
dope
there. I'm like,
one.
this is very reminiscent of like what people would look at South Beach. I'm like, it has
Right.
Very similar
Clear
characteristics.
water and stuff like that.
It's crazy. I'm like,
nice
this is crazy.
sand.
I'm like, why wouldn't they never show
Advertise
this part?
that. Yeah.
And I got it. It's because you're talking about a country that has a population, I think 70% of the population is under 30. So they're very young. But when you have youth, what you have is life expectancy, and then you have an ability to create an economy around that. So imagine if that population has resources, has infrastructure, has technology.
And you said, what's the percentage under 30, you said?
70%.
70% under 30?
70%, bro.
Wow, that's
Under 30.
crazy.
So there's opportunity. You have the people. That's number one.
Yeah.
The next thing is like, how do we create infrastructure? Well, it's going to take effort from everyone, really. So while we go back, is like we fell in love with the community. We fell in love with our origins. Like you can feel it. Like
You feel it,
we
right?
always like they've done a great job marketing it as the return home, the return home, the return home. But people went there to party, right? They didn't go there to build. And so we were like, look, if we go, we have to make it something that's sustainable, something that can become inspirational and aspirational. People will want to go
Right.
for something other than partying. So
Right.
yeah, it's cool to go in December, but who's going in March?
Okay.
Who's going in June?
Okay.
Who's in November before all the parties? Who's in September when there's no party?
Right.
That's what we needed to portray. And so we went back again, and we had an opportunity to look and connect with some guys who are doing incredible things that are from there.
Right.
Like we don't want to infiltrate and say like, here's the way to do things. How do we work together to make this something incredible? And so we're on the cusp of creating something super incredible. I can't announce it yet.
Yeah, no, it's cool.
But definitely in the realms of real estate. And I'll say this: in order to return home, you need to have one.
Gotcha.
Right? It's tough to go back to somewhere if you don't have a home.
It's a fact.
And so we want people to understand their history. We want people to understand there's opportunity there.
Yeah.
And not only do we want them to understand it, we want to lead by example and show them. Exactly. Because when people see us go somewhere, it's like they know something's coming.
Yeah, for
We
sure.
can't go nowhere and people like, oh, they just went there on vacation. They automatically think, oh, they're in London, something's going to happen in London.
Yeah.
They were in Egypt, something's happening. Y'all went to Ghana? I'm just waiting.
Yeah.
I know something's happening.
Now, did y'all link up with Akon?
And we've linked up with Akon
Was
in
y'all
Atlanta.
like really in a real hangar? Was that a real hangar, like a airport?
When we did the Akon interview? Yeah.
Oh, okay, because I thought it was like, I didn't know if it was like.
Yeah, nah, that was dope.
That's crazy.
When I looked,
Jet was in there, everything was white. Nah, I mean, Akon.
that
People
joint.
sleep on Akon. Akon loaded.
No,
man.
no. Listen, Akon, he's a visionary, so that's why I asked that.
So we didn't meet him.
'cause
City coming and everything.
he promotes all that out there, hard body.
Yeah,
Is he from Ghana or Nigeria?
he's from Senegal.
Or Senegal?
Yeah, so
Right.
yeah, that's narrative,
Right.
right? Like, so we're here and we have this narrative like Akon, super great dude, has tons of money building the city.
Right.
When you go there, the perception might be different. They're like, how are we doing this? Where is this going to happen? Right. So like narrative is important. He can shape that narrative. No one's here to disclaim it.
Yeah, for sure.
We're going to live with it. But that episode was crazy. That was for our show on Revolt. And when we got there, I was like you. I'm like, yo, y'all stepped the budget up.
I'm looking at got the white jet over here, everything, white couches, everything. Is
I was like, yo, this looks nice. And then when I
that was
watched
dope.
the episode, I'm like, nah, this is real
That
fly.
was dope.
Yeah, they were like, yo, get on the jet. And then like,
Was it hot that day?
Nah,
No?
it wasn't.
Nice breeze?
It was nice.
Okay.
Yeah, he had the sweater vest on.
So
I don't know if
Mano,
we jacking that.
jump into rapid fire.
Rapid fire. Okay.
Then we go
Let's
rapid
do it.
fire.
Let's do
rapid
it.
fire. Yeah, rapid fire
Let's
is
do it.
I'll give you some names of places, persons, and things.
Yep.
And what it means to you in 2 words or less.
Gotcha.
So you basically know the game.
Yep.
Okay, so we're gonna start off with Keisha Cole.
Love. Yeah, love. That I argued somebody down. I was like, yo, who has the better love record? Is it Music Soul Child or is it Keisha Cole? What y'all say?
Music Soul
I'll say
Child. I'm a
Keisha.
fan. I'm a fan of
Nah, I'm
Music Soul
going
Child.
Keisha. Now,
I've been, I've been to too many parties with that joint.
right?
is on.
Of course.
Yeah.
Jalen Brunson.
King of New York.
About to rock off.
And I'm a
About
Chicago fan.
about
but
2 hours, he
King of
rocking.
New York. He King of New York.
Okay. Rick Ross.
That's my guy. Boss. That's my guy.
Boss.
That's my guy. That's a guy who shows up for us every time.
That's dope.
Our most watched interview is with Rick Ross. We actually got to go
That's dope.
to the estate and do the interview at his crib. And
that's
he
dope.
always shows up for us. Yeah,
That's
he
dope.
did Invest Fest for us. He did the show. We went to his car show. That's Carnegie Hall. We just did with him. That's our guy.
Okay. Devin Haney.
Ooh,
Did you go to the fight?
I did not go to the fight.
Okay.
That's Revenge. Revenge. You need to seek that.
Ryan Garcia.
When I think him, I think the power of social media.
Okay.
Power of social media.
Shotty.
Brother, visionary.
Mike.
Brother, loyal.
Okay. And last but not least, Kamala Harris.
That's our VP, man, Madam VP. A brilliant mind who has been curtailed a little bit. So I hope and I pray that people get to see who she really is, because I think they'd be surprised and they'd be like, all right, this is somebody I rock with. This is somebody I rock with.
Absolutely, she's dope.
I know she gets a lot of criticism just because of everything that's happening under this administration, but it's tough. You're in a tough position.
So here we have it on the Nothing But Love show. We went through hula hoops in I'm gonna say in the last 8 months to get this guy on here, but once again, I must stress relationships are very important in life.
You didn't even tell him how you knew me when I was I 16?
Yeah.
I was probably like 16, right?
Yeah. I first met you at Greenberg Cap in Greenberg.
Yeah.
I used to go to the center a lot.
Fact.
Then shout out to Keisha Sweeney,
Rest in
RIP.
peace.
She got me a job because I wanted to do something in the music industry. So actually I wanted to leave the post office because I worked at night, worked at Greenberg Cap because I was gonna leave to do something in the music industry. And so she got me that job. And then that's how me and you got real close.
Yeah.
All the time, laughing,
And Mike
joking.
Mike was fly dude. Mike always, he come through fly. So I was like, yo, we got to respect. I mean, we can only respect that.
Expounding that because he's loving that movie.
Yeah.
People
Mike,
know how fly Mike was. Mike, look at Mike.
Nah. People already know what
Mike
it is.
is fly though.
You know what I'm
That's a
saying?
fact.
People already know what it
Absolutely.
is. But once again, yo, thank you for coming on the show.
Too easy.
He told me earlier in the week, he was like, yo, every day we book. We had an original day for Saturday, but that didn't work for Mainovent. So we had to like cram today in. So thank you for coming on the show.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, I appreciate y'all having me, brothers.
Oh, you definitely dropped some gems.
Absolutely.
And like he said, the whole cast of Earn Your Leisure has been on Nothing But Love show.
That's a fact.
Mikey, Rashad, now you was the last missing piece.
I'm the last missing piece on a bunch of people's shows.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you.
What about the Invest Fest? You got to tell them about that. What's going on?
Oh, yeah, man. InvestFest. Did y'all pull up? Have y'all been to InvestFest?
No,
yet?
we haven't.
Trying to go this year.
my
Yeah, trying to
gosh.
go this year.
And then now you have it in Atlanta.
It's always
again.
in Atlanta. It's
Yeah,
always in
always.
Atlanta. So
Okay.
it's the 4th annual InvestFest, August 23rd through the 25th in Atlanta, Georgia, at the Georgia World Congress Center.
Okay.
It's going to be an incredible weekend. So every year we try to top ourselves, right? So like 20,000 people. It was like people were like, whoa, how did you do that? And so we kind of looked at it like, yeah, is it 30,000 that makes it better? Like maybe it's not. Maybe if we made
100,000.
right?
Yeah,
but even that, it was like, what if we made the experience even better for the 20,000 people that were there? And so let's add more things to it. Let's add some satellite events. Let's add some giveaways. So let's add more businesses inside. So we got a dope weekend ahead. It is our pilgrimage, man. I think it's a pilgrimage for all Black people.
No,
I think, and anybody that's interested in business, but specifically us, just because Atlanta is the Mecca and what this conference means, this festival means, right? It doesn't exist anywhere. You don't see this many people
Oh, absolutely
unless
not.
it's for a concert.
Absolutely.
So to see people coming together to talk about business, to talk about finance, to talk about investing, to network with across, right? 'Cause you got people that are in those rooms. To find your next business partner, to hear your next business idea,
Absolutely.
to get your next venture capital or angel investor. All those things exist in this space, which makes it so unique. So we very honored and privileged to be the founders of it, man. So I want everybody to come out, especially when
That's dope.
people from hometown.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, it's
for
just
sure.
different.
We're
It's
gonna
different when we
pull
see
up.
hometown.
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah,
That's
it's
this month,
different.
right?
It's in
August,
August.
mid-August. Yeah.
Right.
And tell the viewers how important I seen the name Earn Your Leisure,
Yeah.
and then y'all went into clothing, and how lucrative was that, and at what point?
Yeah.
Just to wrap it up.
It's quick, man. So it's one of those things. People, like I said, yo, you was fly. Right?
Right.
Before I heard you speak, I'm like, yo, this dude was fly. I like that, right? So that's somebody I can like, all right, I can trust him.
Right.
He at least takes care of himself.
Okay.
And so our thing is like, people will look at what you're wearing before they ever hear you speak.
Right.
It's one of those things I learned in school. Before I can say anything to a kid, he gonna size me up and down. Yo, he fresh.
That's
All right,
a
I
fact.
could at least listen to him.
Right.
You know say he got the J's on.
Right.
He fresh.
I'm gonna give him some
All right,
conversation.
We're gonna give him a chance.
Absolutely.
We're gonna spec them a little different. And so we knew that clothing was important. Everybody had a brand. And so if we wanted to make a brand, let's just get our clothing out there. So the first thing we had was our faces.
Right.
But we thought people probably won't want to wear our faces. And so we had the assets over liabilities
Yeah,
as a slogan.
That was dope.
And so that became the brand slogan for everybody. And so even if you didn't know us, you knew that mantra meant something, right?
Yeah.
So people in accounting, they understood assets over liabilities, right? But people that rock with us, they understood that was us as well. And so it was like, all right, let's get that. And originally we didn't have capital to do it. And so I found like one of these dropship companies, Printful at the time, where you put your logo on a t-shirt and people can just order it. They manufacture it, they print it for you, they ship it out. The margins aren't as great, right? But you're not putting up any capital. You're just putting it in the store. And so we did that until we figured out how to manufacture ourselves.
The margins wasn't great because the price points was low, or just margins wasn't great.
They're gonna make more.
Even if you go up on the price point,
they would have made more, right? So let's say I sell a shirt for $70.
Yeah,
they're getting the
still
t-shirt.
taking that same cut.
Yeah, they're getting that cut. And so for us, it was like, all right, it was like an ancillary business until it was like, wait, we can actually make real money doing this if we cut out this middleman. But then we have to get inventory, we got to get storage, we got to get a print press. Okay. So we had to get the capital to do those things, and we did. Yeah. And then it became something that became profitable. So I say that the merch business, I mean, it's at this point, it's probably done 7 figures.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it definitely InvestFest, y'all sales pumped up that weekend for it. Yeah. The numbers was incredible from what I was reading. I don't want to get in y'all business out there. Y'all doing your thing. You know what I'm saying?
But here's the reality of it, right? Like, that was something that we did, right? There wasn't any corporate sponsors or corporate partners saying, here's money for you guys, love what you're doing. So like, we're funding this. Like, so if it costs millions of dollars, like, we're paying for that, right? And so like, we've got to make sure that, like, from a business standpoint, how does this make sense that we keep going? Right. How do we make sure that partners understand our story so it makes sense to them? Because if I've been to conferences, I'm sure you guys have been to some, and you're like, there's like 100 people here, but they'll have like 7 people on the step and repeat. And you're like, those are all your sponsors? Yeah. Like, yeah. How much you raised? 3 million? But there's only 100 people here. Yo, we had 20,000 people.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got 20,000.
Wow. You see what I'm saying? And so like, that's a battle that we fight.
And the city officials wasn't really involved last year like they are now, right? They're like really involved now.
We're working.
Because I heard you guys did a lot of that by yourself. Like, you got, you know what I mean? Like,
that was
now it's like everybody's, oh my God, let's embrace them. You know what I mean?
It's true. I mean, but so part of it is like, we're not from Atlanta. Okay. Right. So we're not there now. Right. So like having a direct relationship with them is a little bit tough. Obviously we can talk to them on the phone, but yeah, I think the city should definitely be even more so involved. Like, this is something that we're bringing.
There was no incidents neither. Like, nobody
there hasn't in 3 years.
It's beautiful.
Thank God. There's never been. Everybody's coming with the intent.
No, black love.
That's dope.
See what I'm saying? So like,
dope, man.
We're thinking about Atlanta. It used to be known, and they just had the movie for Freaknik, right? The Hulu joint. Yeah. And shout out to Massive Pill that put that together. But like, now this is something completely different that Atlanta can now be known for. Right. And it's this festival where commerce and culture meet every summer to build. And I think that's what we have.
So I got one last question.
Let's do it.
Go ahead, Vado.
I think the people want to know, what is the long-term, we're never going to ask short-term because you've been killing it short-term. Yeah. What's the long-term goal for Earn Your Leisure?
Yeah, man, I think to spread the brand internationally. I think that, when you see us in these places, I mean, every time we go, we're planting a flag there because we want to encourage people and lead by example in that way. I think the curriculum is something that's super important. I know it's going to take time to get it. It's something that's fairly mandated, but we're here doing the work. And I think,
see yourself going into politics?
I don't see myself going into politics. I'm like the guy who likes to live. I have a public persona, but live a private life.
Okay.
I think I enjoy that too much to be involved.
What about a network?
So we have a network of shows as far as linear TV and network. People are going away from that. And so now you're starting to see streaming services. And so now our thing is like, let's just build our catalog. Because at some point, somebody going to want that catalog.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. Makes sense.
Dame Dash told us that. He was look, what happens if y'all stop shooting the episodes? Like, can you still make money?
Got you.
And he was like, that's why I built catalogs.
So
build catalogs.
Get the catalogs together.
Somebody
that's why we safeguard everything we up.
Scoop the catalog.
Right.
Okay.
The last thing is this. This is the last thing.
Okay.
Because this is so unique to this time. At some point, I feel like we could be a publicly traded company. And so that means that outside people can invest in the companies. And, like in the stock market, you got those tickers. Right. I think we got the perfect mantra, right? Like EYL is our thing. I feel like we're building verticals and we have assets, and we're going to keep building assets that will one day give us an evaluation that will be over $1 billion. I think it would,
Absolutely.
I think it would be one of the most unique stories in business to watch two dudes start with an iPhone and build $1 billion company, and that's one
It's
of the
possible, bro.
yeah, it's,
Yeah, for
and that's
sure.
I mean
10 billion. I mean,
Sure.
forget the billion.
I think
10 billion.
I think it's highly
Yeah,
and
yeah.
once you see it, it's like we've
Give
seen
the
path.
genetic breakdown.
Yeah.
That's
There's
all it
nobody
is.
doing what you guys are doing.
You got to give the
especially in
genetic
short-
breakdown.
yeah,
Once you break
span
it
of
down
time.
for them,
Yeah.
And
we
it
have
go public?
We have access to it, right?
It's on.
And you really know what y'all talking about. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know what you're talking about. It's no smoke and mirrors with you guys. You know what's going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So there's opportunity there.
give the podcasters some encouraging words on what direction they should go in real quick.
Yeah, man. Always study your craft. Outwork everybody. It's interesting when you told me you're like, yo, can we do it? I'm like, nah, we working every day, and people don't realize how much work we do.
Right.
Like we're working all the time.
Facts.
Like, but that's what comes with this. We sit in a position where people are looking at us as the authority, as the leaders in this space, and so we know that in order for somebody to actually creep in that means we fell off a little bit, and we're never gonna fall off. Our work ethic is too strong. So I would say outwork the competition. I would say take imperfect actions. I think that's one of the biggest steps we did. We're not gonna wait to have Black Magic cameras. We're not waiting to have rec cameras. We're gonna use what we got. We got an iPhone.
Yeah, for sure.
We got a microphone. We
Can't
got a
let
dining
nothing
room.
slow you down.
We don't.
Absolutely.
We ain't have these short mics, but we're
Yeah.
gonna start and we're
Yeah.
gonna learn. Right. I like to say that we're flying the plane and building it at the same time. But once that thing is built, man, it's going to be a G7 because it's going to be accelerated because of the things that we're learning, the people that we're having
Absolutely.
opportunity to
Lot of good
have
relationships.
relationships with.
Yeah.
Our Rolodex is pretty strong, man, and so I would encourage everybody to create networks, take imperfect actions, and please always outwork the next day. I sat down. This is no joke. I went. I got home today after the interview I was telling you about. And my wife was like, what'd you think about your class last night? I'm like, I got to learn more. She's like, what? Like, what are you talking about? She's like, there was 900 people that you was teaching at one time. Like, you did an incredible job. I'm like, yeah, but I got to learn more. She was like, why can't you just be happy with what you just did? I'm like, because I know
You got to push you.
next month is coming.
Yes.
And I need to learn more so I can teach more.
Yeah. You got to push
She
you.
was like, all right, but tonight, can you just be happy? I'm like, I am happy, but I need to learn more. So that type of hunger, that type of drive, that
you got
self-motivation,
to push yourself.
you just got to keep it. That if you don't have that, you won't succeed.
Absolutely.
That's what's up.
That's dope. So, once again, Troy from Earn Your Leisure, Nothing But Love.
Love, love, love.
Until next time.
Peace.
That was dope. We could have went on
That's true.
forever.